Welcome to the Horror Hangout, a podcast where film fans watch the best and worst horror movies of all time and talk about them. My name is Ben Errington, and today I'm joined by regular co-host Mr.
Andy Conduit Turner. Hello, Ben, and indeed everybody. Not been in the same place for a little while, have we?
We have not existed in the same place for a long time, a bit like Clark Kent and Superman. Does that joke work? Not really. And today we've got a very special returning guest. She's a comedian, lifelong horror fan with an improvised D&D show, Tales of Adventure, at Bristol Improv Theatres, and she introduces horror films for the Bristol Bad Film Club. Welcome to the show, Alice Taylor-Matthews. Hello.
Thank you very much for having me again. It's really nice to be here chatting to you guys.
Welcome.
This is the third
back.
time, right?
Yes.
I think it's
so
I'm going to throw it in there. It's officially the fourth time. You know why?
Oh, outside broadcast.
We did a little outside broadcast of the Bristol Bar Film Club sleepaway camp episode.
Oh, yeah.
We did a little special quiz for Mr. Luke Condo with a K. And then we did Basket Case, Pieces, and now today's movie. So, yeah, it's been quite a run.
We need to go back to this. We said it just before we started recording, but thank you, Alice, for helping us find the technicality. I know when we spoke at the start of the year, the rule was only films with full frontal nudity, right? But you've made an exception.
Male full frontal nudity. Sleepaway Camp has very infamous full frontal male nudity. Pieces has some excellent full frontal male nudity. And Basket Case has some wonderful running down the street naked full frontal nudity. And I said I would not come back unless we discuss something with more penises in.
But we got around it because those skeletons are completely unclothed.
Yes.
That's true. Plenty of since our Pieces episode, bastards has become like a permanent permanent fixture of my vocabulary. The amount of times I say that, mainly while driving, is insane.
Just constantly, bastards! As soon as you pull off the drive, just bastard.
Going out the window, fucking bastards. Yeah. So today we're rounding off the Evil Dead trilogy here on the show. Obviously, we did Evil Dead Rise fairly recently, but I think Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2. The Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, we did in like the first year of the podcast. So it's taken a while for us to finally get around to this one, which is kind of insane, but still.
But that's much like people's experiences with watching these films. You always watch the first two, and then you come to this one a lot later in life.
Yeah, that's true. So what is, so in terms of your relationship with the franchise, what did you start with the first two? Like, did you start with them in order?
I started with Evil Dead 2. And even though it's called Evil Dead 2, that's the one I started with. And then I went back and watched the first one. I was like, oh, this is a different vibe. And then much later, I watched this one.
Yeah, so I think it was kind of the same for me. So I saw Evil Dead 2, and then that, for me, that always felt like the definitive Evil Dead experience anyway. And then I went back and watched the first one. And then this one, I think I just like stumbled across it and didn't necessarily make that instant connection. I think it took a while for me to make that connection. Are you a fan of the newer Evil Dead films as well, the 2013 movie? And well, I don't know if you've actually seen. Have you seen the new one, Evil Dead Rise?
Yes, I have. I
Okay.
managed to sneak out and see it while my children.
Sneak out and see it? Well, not in the middle of the night. I hope not.
No, no. I just got babysitter. It feels sneaky somehow.
That makes a lot more sense.
I made very specific childcare arrangements and made a very specific plan to go see it.
Yeah, and then
not really sneaky.
And then announce yourself as you left as well. Where are you going? Leaving now, sorry.
Put like an elaborate scheme, put like a mop on a chair in your office, and then it's like a handle on the door, Home Alone style. If one of your kids opens it, like, I've told you, Mommy's working, and it just goes back into position.
Yeah, I did that.
An inflatable clown to play with in the pool.
Yeah.
So you were you a fan of that?
I generally, overall, I really liked it. I thought the opening was very strong. I thought the end was very strong, and there was parts in the middle that I liked, but there were some parts that was like, meh. I thought they did do, and that's a weird thing to say, I think they did do a good job of the trailer and not revealing too much though. So the beats that were meant to be surprises remained as surprises.
Yeah,
which was
that's
nice.
true. Yeah, I think you're right there, because there were so many things that I was kind of wondering about. Like I was thinking, there's got to be like other Deadites, surely there's got to be other Deadites, not just her. So yeah, the reveals were good, and the 2013 movie as well. A fan of that?
I didn't like it at the time it came out, and I was planning on rewatching it before this just to refresh myself. But for me, it's got one very good scene that I really enjoyed, and then I could leave the rest.
Just watch a clip of your favorite moment.
Yeah, just watch the end bit where she's going to town on herself. That's the good bit.
She's doing what? I think maybe you got a different version of the film. Yeah, I mean, I rewatched that one fairly recently as well, and it really has grown on me. I remember liking it at the time, but it felt quite generic. But since then, I've grown to love it.
My feeling at the time was that it was quite ugly to look at and wasn't as fun. And then I liked the ending. And I feel like before I kind of cement any of those opinions, that I should probably give it another chance and rewatch it. But I suspect I probably still will think it's quite an ugly looking film.
Some things won't change.
But with a good ending.
Is this going to be like a personality test? Like, I think of all the horror franchises we have, Evil Dead is probably one of them that has the broadest spectrum of tones.
Yes.
Any horror franchise.
Yeah, it goes from like actual horror to horror comedy to not even really a horror movie, more like an action fantasy movie, to like very gritty horror movie, and then sort of back around to comedy horror again.
So does this mean the 6th Evil Dead movie, the next one we're going to get, is going to be a medieval
Western
comedy?
A film noir.
I feel like I would take
watch any of those.
I'd take Deadites in pretty much any genre. I think that would be a great addition to anything. Do we think the Evil Dead is probably like
Necronoma rom-com?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Ben, like if Bruce Campbell is out, maybe like a Ben Stiller accidentally reads, or like I'm thinking of it like There's Something About Mary, like a good and an evil Ben Stiller having split in half after read the book. My goodness,
that sounds great.
Yeah,
Steve Coogan's infuriating him about something. What a time.
Is Evil Dead like probably the best franchise for in terms of like the actual levels of quality? Is there another franchise where like I mean the whole thing, like all 5 movies are
they've all got their merits, and they're all, none of them are bad, none of them are bad. So yeah, probably. But 5 is still quite, for franchises really, it's still quite small potatoes numbers, It's not the 10 plus movies that some of the other horror franchises have. And if you make 10 movies of anything, some of them are going to be stinkers.
Yeah. I guess it's just because the release dates are so far, there's such a distance between them. Like, it's even crazy to think that there were 10 years between 2013 Evil Dead and then Evil Dead Rise.
It's it felt mathematically impossible, bearing in mind the 90s are only, 12 years ago?
That's true. When did this one come out?
92.
92, that's it. Yeah, so that wasn't that long ago. I remember that. So yeah, I guess we should talk a little bit about some horror news before we go and jump straight into our full discussion on Army of Darkness, which I've been looking forward to. I'll tell you what, I've been looking forward to that all bloody week. So horror news. It's June. We're in June. This episode now is just slightly later than originally advertised for the end of May. However, we've now confirmed our June podcast lineup, haven't we, Andy?
We have indeed. Have you got it written down? Because otherwise my memory's going to fail me.
I've not got it written down. I'm going in dry with the old brain. So next week, so the first week of June, we're covering The Boogeyman, the new Rob Savage, not Rob. Why have I added Robbie?
You mate, it's all Robbie.
Oh, Robbie.
Robbie Savage. Robbie Savage is a former Birmingham City, Derby County, Wales international footballer. I don't know why I've just thrown him into the mix there. But sorry, Rob Savage. The Boogeyman, we're covering on week 1. Then we're covering Little Shop of Horrors,
Yes.
with special guest Stu Freeman, and then on week 3, Blair Witch 2, a movie I've wanted to cover on this podcast for a while, Book of Shadows, with Ed Harvey. He's returning for the first time since Deadly Friend. That was the last episode he was on. I missed that, so I wanted to get him back. And then number 4 is, what's week 4? Andy, do you remember?
Old Dry Brain.
The Old Dry Brain. Is it sinister or not sinister? There's something else, right? There was something else we were going to watch. Hell House LLC.
That's it. Hell House LLC with paranormal investigator Leanne Burnham Richards. So a great lineup with some awesome returning guests and new guests as well. It's always a treat. It's always a treat, no matter what happens. No matter when we start thinking about the episode lineup, and we're like, "Oh, what can we do? Who can we invite?" It always ends up being awesome. So
absolute bonanza. Come and join us. It's summertime is coming.
Join us,
kings and queens.
Join
of summer.
us. Yeah, and then maybe for July we should do like some actual summery films.
Yeah.
Are we long overdue a sleepaway camp too?
Yes.
Yep.
What it lacks in the surprise of Sleepaway Camp 1 has some excellent flippant kills in there, so bring it on.
And Bruce Springsteen's sister.
There you go.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Angela's played by Bruce Springsteen's sister.
Wow. Okay, so in terms of horror news, what have we got? So Terrifier 3 is officially happening. The news for this week is that it's been confirmed. Director Damien Leon will be returning, obviously, to the franchise. The plot is very much being kept under wraps, but if anybody saw Terrifier 2, you know that perhaps it could be going in a slightly supernatural route. It says it will continue to be a boundary pushing addition to the horror genre. No holds barred, a bigger budget this time round. So I guess that just means more inventive kills and gore. Have you seen the Terrifier movies, Alice?
No, I haven't. I don't think they're in on any other streaming services that I have access to, and I don't get to go to the cinemas frequently as I used to. But people talk very highly of them if you like gore, which I generally do.
I think in terms of gore, it is up there. I wouldn't say I know me and Andy aren't the biggest fans of the movie, but I think you can't deny that the gore effects, especially
from a practical effect and a love of the genre, it's fantastically made. Just like Change from 3 hours. Come on.
Oh yeah, the last
one it's not 3 hours, but it's
it?
not. But the second one's not far off, right? It's 2 3/4. Like, come on, a slightly lighter touch on, especially as it's quite light on the story. And I think the third one, they've said they want to add more fear to it. Maybe that will, maybe that suspense will support a longer runtime. But yeah, I think you could have made that second one in particular 45 minutes, like 30 minutes at least shorter, and you wouldn't have lost any of the really cool gore stuff.
And the last thing it says, if you thought Art the Clown's Reign of Terror in part 2 was extreme, you haven't seen anything yet. How much more extreme can it get?
You might be on a skateboard this time. you know that hat he wears? I know it's not a baseball cap and it's a fairly symmetrical little top hat. What if he turns it backwards? It's pretty extreme.
He can.
You might get some
people's heads off.
Might get some catchphrases, little extreme ones. Tell people to sit on it. Or something like that you might say.
Oh, Jesus.
He's rude, isn't he? He's a bad clown.
He's a rude clown. Yeah, but he's a silent rude clown.
That'd be extreme. That's pushing the boundary.
Guys, out of interest, do you guys ever feel sorry for real clowns?
Feel sorry for them?
Yeah.
The profession's been ruined. They got into it to delight children everywhere, and now people have made them scary.
Yeah. Like, they're one of the things, like, not many other professions are like, well, this is a scary job now. I just...
Yeah, but you've got...
no one thinks about the clowns, man.
I'm pretty sure, like, if you look at it, I think they did things like when the modern remakes of Stephen King's It came on, I'm pretty sure some clowns are on, like, trash British television.
Yeah.
Like This Morning or whatever, saying people made our jobs pretty scary.
I think you've got
and they terrified Philip and Holly. Like, I'll kill you now.
Is it John Wayne Gacy's fault, right?
Yes, it is John Wayne Gacy's
He
fault,
made
yeah.
clowns scary as
Pretty
well.
much. But his makeup didn't look cheerful at all. It did look terrifying. It's like he'd perfectly gone out of his way to be a scary clown.
Yeah.
Put this on the docket then for films that we should make along with Boo Year's Eve. Maybe a film in which clowns images are rehabilitated, like a slasher that happens at a circus, and all of our main characters are clowns. It's a clown college, that's where it is. And the baddie, spoilers for the Clown College Massacre, is a businessman in his suit and tie.
Bloody square. But it's interesting that no other children's performers seem to have had the same kind of there's no balloon model killers, are there?
There's no ringmasters or people with lion tamer baddies that go around.
There's no gone off the rails face painter, for example.
Yeah, I was going to say like Spider-Man to death.
I was literally going to say
they painted Spider-Man one too many times and they snapped. They saw red and black and white.
And now they only paint Spider-Man on the face of children who they're about to send into a fictionalized New York where all of his enemies live. But you get him.
I was about to say, what about like children's TV presenters? But then that is definitely a definitely a can of worms. It's probably not the best opening at this time.
There's one or two that aren't pedos yet, right?
Yeah. Don't attribute the word "yet" to that. That's not fair.
I need to make this future proof for if we go out in defense of someone else, you go, I never liked him.
Yeah.
If you go back to episode 1, there's a clip of Ben saying, "Tell you who's never going to let me down, Rolf Harris. His art is timeless." No, he doesn't say that. Don't go back to the tapes.
Talking about Rolf Harris, obviously, I don't know how to. You brought him up before you say it. I saw Rolf Harris live at Glastonbury in 2009, I think, and honestly, up until there were those reveals, one of the most joyous days of my life. So I've literally just had to just delete that from my brain and just go, that never happened.
I'm not stealing someone else's jokes. I will credit them. I heard it on a podcast just today, in fact, that if he hadn't been such a good entertainer, he wouldn't have had all those opportunities, would he? So obviously, he was good at his job.
That is a horrible joke. That is a horrible joke. Oh dear. Should we move swiftly on? I think we should.
Let's move on. Real life horrors. Onto anything else in the news, Ben?
Yeah, we came here to talk about fun horror, not
not the worst.
Not real life horrible horrors.
Not him.
Not him. Okay, so we got a new trailer and details for Silent Hill Ascension, which is due out later this year. Obviously, with the reveals from the Silent Hill Konami stuff last year, that there was going to be games, a TV show, which I think is kind of this, and obviously a new movie as well. So Silent Hill Ascension is a streaming series which is going to be interactive, where it sounds like one of those games. What are they called? What are they called? The games, not like Until Dawn, but the Dark Anthology.
Oh, the same thing, like the Dark Picture House Anthology. That one.
That's right. That's what I knew. So yeah, it's basically like that, but a TV show where you can decide who lives and who dies. It sounds like a choose your own adventure scenario, but a TV show. I don't know if where it's going to be on, if it's going to be available on
a real Bandersnatch situation, right? Where, press this button on your remote control.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that though, because I feel like it should have had more of an impact than it actually did. Like nobody was really talking about the choices they made, and it felt like it kind of went to the same sort of end with Bandersnatch, didn't it? And it feels like this is kind of going to be happening as well, because it's all new characters in Silent Hill, and it doesn't look like we're going to be made to really care about anybody. Well, I'll watch it anyway, but there is a trailer out now for it, which talks about the sort of immersive experience, and it looks lovely as well. So I don't know if it's going to be like on a streaming service or a game scenario, but there's not much in terms of the way of the story. But I'm kind of just keen to get anything Silent Hill in my eyes for the first time, because it's been a few years since we've had anything really. And obviously the movie, which is going to be called Silent Hill, Return to Silent Hill, Return to Silent Hill, I think it's going to be called. Same director as the original movie as well. So, exciting times if you're a Silent Hill fan. Silent Hill fans have been left with feeding off scraps for so many years.
Not even
Why?
scraps. They got offered, like, someone started cooking the most delicious steak that anyone had ever seen, and then they snatched it away and even like got rid of the demo. They even tore up the photograph of the steak that they'd started cooking and said, unless you've got an old PlayStation with that downloaded, then mate, you ain't even going to see that again.
No.
Have a
Well,
pachinko machine and shut the fuck up.
Feeding off scraps, considering like Resident Evil fans have essentially been gorging themselves stupid on content, TV shows, movies, games, remakes, gorging themselves stupid. Where Silent Hill fans are like, can I just have a crumb? Can I have a crumb of a game? Yes, you can. Have them all.
Looking forward to some new stuff. Might dangerously close to getting sick of remakes at the minute in the world of games, at very least.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, talking of Resident Evil is a nice segue. Apparently, there's a new Resident Evil film in development called The Umbrella Chronicles, and apparently it is a sequel to Welcome to Raccoon City. Worst title ever for anything.
No, the worst title for anything is Pennyworth: The Origins of Batman's Butler.
Oh my god.
I mean,
that is pretty awful.
Give me a worse one, we will wait.
That is awful.
Yeah.
But I mean, Gotham's pretty bad as well, because I saw like an advert pop up for Gotham on like a streaming platform the other day, and the picture was of Batman, and I was like, that is just false advertising. 100% false advertising. It was like Batman from behind his little
He
ears.
will live here soon.
Yeah, but not into it. But anyway, this one, the Resident Evil: The Umbrella Chronicles, which is also a bad title, because why would you call the second movie something The Umbrella Chronicles? Surely you should start with The Umbrella Chronicles and then I don't know.
I'd like the Chronicles if it was an anthology film. I think we suggested it on that episode. If it was, instead of we're trying desperately to fail to hit the story points of the movie again, it's just we've got 3 or 4 little short horror ideas that we want to put as part of this little zombie apocalypse. That could work. Maybe tied together, got old Bertie Wesker watching them on the screen saying, oh, what's happening in this area?
Well, considering a TV show got cancelled and this movie was like critically panned, and I don't think it made much money. I saw it in the cinema, but I don't think it made much money in
I don't think
theatre.
it costs much money either, though, right? So
one of those, is it?
Is it going to be like profit-wise, I think the Resident Evil series for Man Who Loves His Wife Very Much, Paul W.S. Anderson, absolute gangbusters in terms of profit margin, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because
he added 4 more wings to his house. He already had 8 wings.
Yeah,
got all going on. What?
His house like a biblical angel over there. Wings for fucking days.
He lives in the Pentagon. He's recreated the Pentagon.
You know, Heathrow Terminal 5. It's his house, that is.
That's his house. Get out. Alice, did you see the Resident Evil, either the TV series or the latest film, that Welcome to Raccoon City?
No, I watched the first lot of those movies. And they didn't really like. I even had a really great experience watching the 3D one in that was years ago now. I watched it was like an all-nighter 3D horror movie marathon at the cinema, and I had fun watching it, but because the place that it was in.
Because you're having a fun time with.
Yeah, I could leave those movies. I have got a movie that's coming out that I feel like you guys would like, though, that I got a screener for.
Oh, go on.
So it comes out in July. It's called Talk to Me. And if you saw Evil Dead Rise, you probably saw the trailer for it.
Yeah.
I have seen it. Got a screener for it, so I've watched it, and it's very good. Yeah.
Nice.
So definitely go see that.
Adding it to my list as we speak.
I saw the trailer, and then I think there was another trailer, and I saw some screenshots, so I tried to avoid it. So I don't know all that much about it right now. But is it an A24 one, isn't it? I think so.
Quite possibly.
Quite possibly, yeah.
But it's it's genuinely like I like horror movies because I don't get scared very easily. Like this had genuinely some scary bits and genuinely one of the most horrific things I think I've ever seen in a movie.
Wow.
That is a high recommendation. And for those of you who don't remember Alice's last visit, this is someone who had a teenage mission to seek out all video nasties, like an A to Z little piece of paper.
Yeah. It had something that made me wince so much that my shoulders just didn't leave my ears for a while.
That is a strong recommendation indeed. I don't think we can top that.
I haven't put anything like that in the trailer, so it will come as a surprise.
That's good. I'm sure we'll cover that. We'll probably cover that in some way in July. But yeah, if in terms of Resident Evil news, if you want to know what me and Andy think about all of the Resident Evil films, live action and animated, and that new one, we put out a franchise ranking episode a little while ago. So go and hunt that down, check that out, and you can see how we rank all of the Resident Evil movies.
Enter the world of survival horror as two guys try desperately to put several 2-star movies into some semblance of order.
Exactly. It was a good time all round. Okay, I guess we move on to what we've been watching, as if we've watched anything in the last 7 days or so. It doesn't always have to be horror, it can be horror adjacent if you fancy it, but anything you want to talk about at all. Alice, have you got anything you'd like to discuss?
I'm only really watching Deadwood, which is not really horror.
I remember that. Is that the new no, was it like a movie that they did? Did they do a movie?
Yeah, they did a movie. So I didn't watch it when it originally came out. My husband did. So we watched season 1. We're watching season 2 now. So there's season 3 in the movie to go.
Oh wow!
But yeah,
I haven't caught any Deadwood, but I think you're allowed that as horror adjacent. It was horrible in the old.
It was. People are dying all blooming time.
Yeah,
all the blooming time.
All the blooming time.
Couldn't get a sarsaparilla for love nor money some of those days.
Yeah.
I think I saw maybe the first series of Deadwood like long time ago, but it's always been something I wanted to get back to.
Timothy Oliphant in it of Scream 2 fame.
Yeah, there you go. Is Lovejoy in it as well?
Yes. Ian
I don't
McShane.
know his real name.
Ian McShane. Yeah, he's in it. And Brad Dourif, Chucky.
Oh, there you go. Very hot. This is a horror thing.
I'm watching Deadwood. That's it. I can only really watch one TV show at a time. I'm watching Deadwood and Taskmaster. I don't have time for anything else.
Oh, and thank you for joining us, Alice, because Taskmaster is in the process of airing its last episode as we speak.
That's all right.
Is it? Wait.
Yeah.
Last episode ever?
No, just this series.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's been renewed for like 6 more seasons and a kids version.
They'll crack on with this until everyone who is will be on before they're done.
Yeah.
Alice will probably be on significantly before us. I think Alice will get on that 10, 12 series before they come knocking at our door.
Scraping the bottom of the barrel of us. Andy, have you seen anything this week that you wanted to mention?
Since I last saw you. I mean, I'll segue nicely from Alice's Deadwood. Said this to you earlier, Ben. There are critically acclaimed films that are screaming to get off my to-watch list. There are films that have been recommended high and low, critics and fans alike. I sat down the other day to watch Cowgirls versus Pterodactyls. That's in the Old West, Alice. You might enjoy it if you're in a Deadwood mood.
And I do love pterodactyls.
That's what I thought. I thought the Old West, pterodactyls, yes. I mean,
not dinosaurs, technically flying reptiles.
No. Yeah, flying reptiles, not dinosaurs. Someone does make that mistake, but they correct them. It's not. It's while it is not, and I'll shock you here. I'm glad you're both sitting down. It's not a great film, but there are things to recommend about it. They have some very Stan Winston-esque stop motion for the actual pterodactyls themselves.
Really?
And I feel like someone who did that obviously cared about making these fun, cute little pterodactyls that are off eating people. So good puppetry work. And there are a couple of just bits in dialogue where the characters clearly break character and laugh and are just laughing. at something they've said or done, or just a look they've exchanged on set. And
Unprofessional.
some people will be like, yeah, people like Ben would say unprofessional. But I would say, looks like they had a bloody lovely time making this film.
Oh yeah.
Looks like they had a genuinely nice time. And I can't say that for lots of films that are a lot technically better and had more money behind them. So Cowgirls versus Pterodactyls, wherever you find your movies. And I've also had a couple of flights recently. So on that, I watched Missing, which I think is the unofficial sequel to Searching.
Yeah, I like that.
Screen movie. I liked that. It was good. It was an excellent aeroplane movie.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
Sitting there watching, I like the screen stuff. I like a little bit of detective work that's going on. It's incredibly like cheesy and good pithy teenage dialogue. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
That's Storm Reed, who's in the Last of Us TV show as well.
There we go. Yeah, I thought, genuinely enjoyed it. But finally, and I think one for everyone else to watch out for the rest of the year, I caught just before I went away on my trip. I was with my good friends down at the DCA in Dundee, and kicking off their Undead Film Festival was the premiere of a film called The Origin. It's by director Andrew Cumming.
Of Batman's Butler.
What's that?
It's just a Batman's Butler again.
The Origin, not a Batman's Butler. It's the origin of, well, technically speaking, it probably is the origin of Batman's Butler because it's set before him. It's some of the first human people ever to come to the UK. It was filmed during COVID lockdowns in the Scottish Highlands with like a small cast of people, and it's about the first like human settlers coming to this wilderness. And there's no one else around. They've had to leave to find food and leave their bigger tribe to find shelter and new opportunities and things like that. And for a directorial debut, it is such a massive swing. They went away and worked out their own language for it. So it was good enough that Andrew Cumming, the director, came and he did like some Q&A afterwards. And they've really gone to town on making this for such a small cast. It's really, really tense. It has elements of it that remind me of some of the cinematography and the tension you got from like an Alien. It's got elements of Predator to it because they start to be stalked by something that's in this new and incredibly hostile land. And it's just great to see that they use the space so effectively. It's filmed in the Scottish Highlands where there is nobody. And you get this feeling when these people are out camped by like either in like a really dense woodland or out on these like just these moors where they're around this fire, and you get this sense of such a hostile environment. You're like, oh, that was filmed outside. That is a place that they were. And the horror in it's really, really quite effective. Some good tension. Strong contender for my film of the year already. This is one I'll be watching as we get to do those lists in December. Apparently, it is being distributed by Signature for the UK, so we should get some more UK screenings, in a streaming release later this year. But watch out for it. But that's it. How about you, Ben?
So I've got a few things. So after your Insidious episode with Nico Bell a couple of weeks ago, I thought, you know what, Insidious, have I given it a bad rap? I've never really bothered. Maybe I'll go and watch them all. And I only watched chapter 2, and then I kind of remembered why I don't like these films and why I don't bother with them. Feels like a bit of a carbon copy of the original. Patrick Wilson gets to do some like Jack Torrance in this one.
I watched it after I did the episode with Nico as well. So yeah, lots of dice, lots of him being mad. Similar story to poor old Angela in Sleepaway Camp as well. It's someone that gets misgendered by a weird parent.
Yeah, but it almost felt like that was kind of tacked on, wasn't it? And it felt like as a reveal, it was kind of like, I don't know, it felt a bit dodgy, felt a bit just left a bad taste, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to, because obviously Insidious The Red Door is coming out this year as well, so I was kind of like, maybe I need to get up to speed with everything, but now I kind of feel like, oh, do I even want
I think
to?
you're all right, because I think 3 and 4 are unconnected from the family.
Yeah, but I got to be the old completionist, and I can't Can't
But you
let
can go
myself
into the
off
red
and-
door. You won't have missed out anything.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see if I
You're
can.
You're not
if I
going to
can
be
do
leaning
that.
over to. You're not going to be leaning over to Charlie saying, "Thought Iron Man was dead." No, he can't. No, it's not that. It's not like that at all. I think they're unconnected.
Okay.
You reminded me, I don't know what it was that you said that reminded me, but did you see Knock at the Cabin Door?
Yes.
There has been a line in that movie that has just been circling around my head since the moment I saw it. And I don't think it's meant to be funny, but it was, you know what they say, if you can make eggs, you can do anything. Literally no one has ever said that.
You know what they say.
You know what they say, if you can make eggs, you can do anything. It's like, no, they don't. No
Who
one
says
says
that?
that.
Who's they?
No one has
Them.
ever said that. You can't just say, you know what they say, and then say something mad.
That's just an M. Night Shyamalan script, though, isn't it? I feel like M. Night Shyamalan script is full of stuff where you're like, people don't say these things.
Yeah. Oh, I think they
this?
should start saying them. Alice. This is your mission now to start saying it.
You know what they say? If you can break a chair over someone,
You can
break a chair over
anything.
somebody.
you can
sit
you
down.
can lift a boulder. You know,
You
like
can do anything. For really unconnected things like, I'm sorry, the pilot's passed out, but there's no one to go. Do you know what they say? If you can make eggs, you can do anything.
you can fly this plane.
Fly this plane. I will. I made an omelette this
Yeah.
morning. Let's go.
Yeah, I can do anything. I can make eggs.
Although what I will say is, I make a perfect boiled egg every single time. I've never failed a boiled egg.
Put
Oh
that
my
on your
God.
resume. Like,
What's it?
can do anything. Just the full stop. Can you do anything to qualify this statement for us? Yeah, try this egg.
What is your secret?
That's really good. You can do anything.
I just understand eggs. Do you know what?
If you not got a timer or anything, you just you
No.
feel what's going on.
I have a connect. I bought a box of eggs the other day, and 4 of the 6 eggs were double yolkers.
Oh my God!
4
Basically,
of the 6.
I think
you're a millionaire.
You can do anything.
I think I'm like a really lo-fi superhero or villain, but my power is nearly egg based.
That's
you
good.
just walk up to that box, whip it open, get the Sharpie, 5-minute, 4-minute, without even touching them.
Yeah, I'd love. Wouldn't it be great if you had the superpower to just explode eggs?
Pop them.
Yeah,
That would be pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, is that Mr. Sainsbury? I think you'll be wanting to meet my demands. Don't believe me, you say? Go to the third shop of your Bromsgrove store, the third aisle, open the third box from the back of those eggs. Call me back in an hour. You'd be straight on. Please, no.
Don't do it. Couple
Just
of
chicken
things.
eggs or any eggs?
Any eggs? It's got to be just chicken, surely.
Yeah, just chicken.
Ostrich eggs.
I won't
You'd be out
do-
your depth
dabble.
with an ostrich egg.
That'd be the finale. That'd be your end game.
Yeah.
It's an ostrich egg. I'm not trained in this area.
Could have loads of egg-based puns like I'm having a quail of a time.
Okay. I
Anyway,
also watched
That's too much duck egg
for
related
the
stuff.
first time. We like an egg segue. A segue. Eggway. I watched Rawhead Rex for the first time. Ever seen that?
I've never seen Rawhead Rex, you know.
Never seen Rawhead Rex. It's mad, isn't it? Obviously based on Clive Barker's short story from Books of Blood. I think he wrote the script, but then like disowned it halfway through because he was like, "This is not going in the direction I want it to." It's like monster movie set in the Irish countryside. But the monster's like revealed from the get-go, so you kind of see what it looks like. It kind of looks like Vigo from Ghostbusters 2. Like he's dressed like Vigo from Ghostbusters 2, but like with a werewolf / ape head.
With a were-ape head.
With a were-ape head, and he's like supposed to be some sort of demigod thing. Yeah, I mean, I should have liked it more. I feel like of all the elements, I feel like I should have enjoyed it far more than I did. And I didn't. Got a bit bored. Second act was a bit of a dud, bit bloated. But yeah, I can imagine why some people do enjoy it. And I also watched, the last thing I watched was the movie The Black Demon, about the big Mexican megalodon shark, which I think we saw the trailer for and we discussed it on the podcast a few weeks back. Nah, not good, unfortunately. I'm not even sure if I'd even call it a shark movie. There's loads of like human story and not nearly enough megalodon action.
Was
To
the
the
black
point where
demon oil all along?
this is
Um,
the thing. This is the thing. There is kind of like an anti-oil, anti-big business, anti-capitalism story running through it, but I don't know. I felt like they should have lent into that a bit more, and also like that the shark had some sort of weird supernatural powers. It was making people have visions, and I
Oh
thought
no.
that's a cool idea, but they did nothing with it. And in terms of the main actor, Josh Lucas, who plays Paul Sturgis, I think. Are we supposed to think he's the protagonist? Because he's an absolute douchebag. Sorry, Alice. What were you going to say?
I was just gonna say, if anyone has children and likes megalodons, there is a heavy metal children's album, and there's a song about a megalodon on that, and it goes megalodon,
God.
megalodon, megalodon. It's great.
Megalodons are
Yeah,
heavy metal as well, like a
yeah. What was the band?
prehistoric, massive, terrifying beast. But that's the thing. Like this, you're just it should be awesome. Like everything about it should be awesome. But
Yeah.
no, it's not. It's just
From
boring.
everything you guys are telling me, so sharks, they can do heavy metal, they can do all the things that sharks can do, and they can do visions. You know what else I bet they can do? Eggs, by the sound of
Eggs.
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Well,
If you
sharks
want
have
to,
mercury in them, don't they? So that's a metal.
They can take your temperature.
Yeah.
Put a shark in your mouth, see how high it goes up.
if you wanna hear my extended thoughts, I did do a horror hangout bite-sized episode on Patreon talking all about the black demons, so go and check that out
You
if
want
you
to hear
want to
about
hear
those
me.
visions?
If you want to hear about them, their visions.
You want Ben to give you some visions? Get on Patreon if you could.
Yeah, I will. But that is pretty much it for this
Before
week
we
for
say
me.
the movie of the week, there is one more thing I've been experiencing in the horror world. A little bit behind the zeitgeist on this one. I've been playing some Vampire Survivors on the Xbox because that's what you need to do when you're in a situation with vampires. You're trying to survive them.
Yeah.
It's a real lo-fi, low poly, like pixel art game where you just walk and bloody vampires and all these other nasties try and get you. You just try and survive for as long as you can. And it is super low tech, but is the best game I've played in 5 years. So good.
Wow. 5 years.
That's an arbitrary number, but yeah, ages. It's really, really good.
Very briefly talking about games, I did pick up a copy of Buffy the Vampire Slayer Chaos Bleeds on the PS2.
Is that the
Why did you
second
lead
one?
with that?
Yeah, I think it is the second one, isn't it? The first one is I can't remember what the first one is.
No,
But
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah.
I'm all over this. Never played that one, so I'm going to be diving into that. Apparently, it's multiplayer as well.
I never played the second one, but I used to play the first one a lot.
Yeah,
I found it in a bin.
Oh no! I wonder where my copy went.
And I love Buffy, so I was like, oh, I'm having that.
This is so good. I feel like, Alice, with the other things that happened to you, I feel like you should be a stripping like the Beano.
Exploding eggs and just finding PS2 games.
Do you want me to extend the story? Like, we've been rambling for long, so I feel like maybe this is too much. So basically what had happened is I found them in my bin. So I went to work one day. I put my bins out and I work at 7 a.m. So I put my bins out. When I came back at 3 or like 3:30, it was full of rubbish again. I went, oh, they didn't take them. And then I tried to move it back and I saw that everyone else had their bins collected and someone had fly tipped and put all of their new rubbish in my bin.
Disgraceful.
So I took it all out and I got some gloves and I went for it to find letters with their addresses on.
So you could revenge them?
No, so I could go back and take it to them. So I found where it was from.
Drop on the doorstep.
Yeah, it was from a few doors down. There was loads of games in there, so I took the games out, including Buffy. And then I got changed and I put like a really like revealing outfit on. So ended late, or started early type stuff.
Wait, what? Wait, what was? Why did you do this to threaten them?
No, so they definitely opened the door.
Yeah, so I knocked on the door, just like a really like short mini skirt and like boob tube or something. I was only like 20 or something, and I was like, "Oh, hi, are you this person?" And they're like, "Yeah, I am." I was like, "Well, take your rubbish back then."
And then she hit him with the chain.
And then I just got all their rubbish from around the corner and put it on their doorstep. I was like, do it again. I'm calling the police. It's fly tipping. It's a crime.
This is great.
Get out of my pub.
See you later. Get out of my pub.
I went all Essex.
My eyes are up here.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Good luck with your credit rating, you dickhead. Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
World class. And then
So
you're
if
like,
anyone-
and those games, mine.
Yeah.
Take
You
your
ain't
rubbish
having them
back,
back.
except for the games which are mine now.
They'll be worth double in a few years.
I don't know why you're worried about extending that, Alice. That was gold. Best thing we've done so far. Almost 300
Times.
episodes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you never heard the expression started late and ended early?
Not until today, but it's my new favourite.
It started late and ended early. Does it mean like
So you-
outfit wise? It starts.
Yeah,
there.
your top starts late and your skirt ends early.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
It's very good.
I'm going to be using it from now on. Not,
Every time
not for me.
every time you disapproving of someone's outfit, cool. State of them.
Started late and ended early. I'll get
It's
it
gonna be
I'll get it the
summer
wrong way
soon.
round.
Pop yourself some little shorts on.
Little denim shorts. There we go. Okay. So moving on to the movie of the week, which is Army of Darkness. And that is a 1992 American dark fantasy horror comedy film directed by Sam Raimi. It's the third installment in the Evil Dead film series and the sequel to 1987's Evil Dead. Starring Bruce Campbell and Embeth Davidtz, it follows Ash Williams as he is trapped in the Middle Ages and battles the undead in his quest to return to the present. How exciting. In terms of ratings, it's got 7.4 on IMDb, a 69% critic score, an 87% audience score, 3.7 on Letterboxd, and some choice reviews here about Army of Darkness. Dirk H says, the film concludes a horror trilogy I consider to be one of the greatest ever conceived. 4.5 stars. High praise. Matt Singer says, nobody moved the camera like 90s Sam Raimi. You could teach an entire class on visual storytelling on just what Raimi does here in the first 20 minutes. 5 stars. Coffee says, movies are so much better when they have claymation skeletons in them. 4.5 stars. I think I agree with him there. And Fake Shemp says, I don't know what the real Shemp thinks, but Fake Shemp says, the most ash that has ever ashed. 4 stars.
All true.
All true. I agree massively with all of this. And I'm assuming we're all fans, aren't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's been a long time
Yes.
since I've seen this, even longer than your last watch of 2020, Ben. I
Oh,
feel
really?
like I haven't got a physical copy of this that's any good because people don't have the same hardware for playing stuff anymore. Like my DVD of Army of Darkness is like a Region 1 one that I got when I was being impatient in the old days when you just couldn't buy it in this country.
Oh, no way.
So back
Okay.
at the time, I had a DVD machine and you could, press buttons on them to make multi-region. But now, the laptop hasn't got a DVD drive in it. The PlayStation don't like it. So, had to go and rent it. And I'm so glad I did. It's a delight to watch.
Is a delight. Alice, is it is it kind of up there with Evil Dead? I'm assuming so Evil Dead 2 is your favorite. Is Army of Darkness like up there alongside it, would you say? I guess. No.
Me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sorry. Is it like up there alongside Evil Dead 2 and like in terms of your favorite, would you say?
Evil Dead 2 is definitely my favorite, just for a multitude of reasons. But I have a lot of love for Army of Darkness, and I would say it's between Army of Darkness and Evil Dead 2, which are the most fun films to see in a crowd. So whenever you go and see like reprints of them or retrospective screenings, they are both so much fun. And I think the thing that Army of Darkness really has is it has so many of the iconic lines. So when you think of like the Evil Dead films, a lot of the iconic lines are from this. Like most of the iconic lines are from this. So whenever those come up, like it really like pumps everyone up, and it's a fun movie to see in a crowd.
And so in terms of like watching it in a crowd, we've already mentioned Forbidden Worlds Film Festival when you did the intro for Evil Dead 2 last Halloween. I was there watching it on the IMAX screen, and yeah, I've Evil Dead 2 has always been my favorite, and I've always enjoyed it the most. However, yeah, watching it in with a crowd really did like solidify my love for it and realize like how much it is universally loved.
Yeah. I used to run a comedy night called the Stand Up Picture Show, and we would have comedians on before like cult horror, well, no, cult films, like it could be any film. But we did a couple of horror comedy ones, and we did Army of Darkness rather than Evil Dead 2 because it's so much like sillier and you know, it really leans into the comedy, and it was just one of the best experiences I've ever had. Like it was so much fun, like, you know, comparing the comedy and then introducing the film, and then just everyone was just like really up for it. It was great.
He's a real crowd pleaser. Like even if you're just doing something at home, if you've got friends round for a horror movie, or you know, if you've got a party going on or what have you, great film to put on. You're never gonna disappoint anyone with it. Like it's got horror stuff. It's funny. Like it's just a delight to watch. I had a smile on my face throughout watching it. It was so much fun. I haven't managed to ever catch this with a cinema crowd. Put that on the little bucket list, I reckon.
Yeah, it's definitely go see it with a crowd. It's a good one.
Yeah, the horror elements are there, but probably like not as present as Evil Dead 2. But yeah, the slapstick comedy is, but it's dialed up to such a degree, but it doesn't feel out of place. It's not like you're watching it and going, "This is kind of stupid. I want more of the horror. I want more of the fantasy." The slapstick just really does improve everything that's on screen.
Yeah,
and
I think the interesting thing about this hot film series is Evil Dead was obviously a video nasty, and then for Evil Dead 2, they tried really hard in making sure it wasn't rated R, and that you know, it could be seen by a wider audience. So a lot of the horror in Evil Dead 2 is actually off screen, and instead they have lots of like spurts of blood and, you know, kind of stuff like that, but it's still got an R rating. So this one, they were like, we're going to dial it back even more, we're going to get a PG-13 rating, and there's one spurt of blood essentially, and it's still got rated an R.
Someone just doesn't like Sam Raimi. They're like, no, not this guy.
Oh yeah. So like it is, you know, there are horror elements, but it is dialed back a lot, and the reason for that is specifically because they were aiming for a much wider release. You know, they didn't want that R rating.
That
Bruce Campbell as well,
incredibly red. Yeah,
the reddest of bloods.
The reddest of bloods.
But Bruce Campbell, like we know, all of us here, and probably a lot of people listening, as a physical actor and as a physical comedic actor, one of the best of his generation. I feel like Jim Carrey's got nothing if he hadn't had Bruce Campbell as, you know, watching as he was coming up, because you can see it, like the physical action. And also you notice as going through this, you forget now, because obviously we've seen Bruce Campbell in an array of B movies as he's gone along. He's made a lengthy career of it. We've seen him in Ash versus Evil Dead. Struck me as I was watching this, I was like, hang on, like you're not like just a comedically slightly older, like he's pretty stacked in this one.
Oh, he's a beefcake.
Yeah. It's like, hunky boys version. He's
But that comment of the most Ash that has ever ashed, I fully agree with it, because in the Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, he's still like discovering himself as a character in a way, isn't it? It's like he's experiencing these things for the first time and he's fighting back for the first time. But with Army of Darkness, he's like, I'm taking no shit. I've already been through all this with the Deadites. No one else is gonna. I'm sick of it. I'm taking ownership of everything. I'm kicking ass and I'm showing you how badass I am.
He certainly has the most personality of any of the film iterations in this one. You do get the strongest sense of who he is, and that's also in part that we actually even have flashbacks to who he is.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, of course.
He's much more fleshed out.
And those flashbacks always feel kind of surprising, don't they? You're like, oh, he's just a normal guy with a normal job, and now he's like a time traveling superhero, essentially.
He sort of becomes someone from nothing, right? Because he's a guy that works in a department store. And I know, and I've read precious little of them. There are tons of like Army of Darkness comics. It's crossed over with Marvel Zombies that has like Ash and the Necronomicon.
Well, wasn't he originally going to be in Freddy versus Jason? Wasn't it originally going to end?
Freddy versus Jason 2? I think they had a sequel, and I'll have to subtly Google it, but I think there is a comic version of Freddy versus
I
Jason
think that
versus Ash.
I think there is. Yeah, I think we
But for a
mentioned it before.
film, I don't think they could. I don't think they could square it away with the legal people.
No.
It's like Vin Diesel fighting The Rock in a Fast and Furious thing. It's like they've got to do an equal number of punches, and no one's actually allowed to win.
No one's got to look stronger than the other
And
one.
they're exactly as tall as each other. Don't say any different, and they've got the same amount of hair. And
Have you
all
not seen that shot though of The Rock and Vin Diesel like stood on the step talking to each other? Have you never seen that?
No.
Oh my god! I
Yeah,
have to
yeah,
say.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
you've
no,
seen
I
it?
do. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like a really weird really weird angle, isn't it? Where you either look at it, it looks like The Rock is tiny, and then when it switches back, it looks like The Rock is massive. But they're like diagonal. But the shot looks like they're face to face is so good.
Yeah, and that's why they couldn't do the second thing, because Ash would have had to have won because he's the goodie, and they would have never got that past legal.
Yeah.
He ain't
But I
that
wish
good,
they had.
as he says in this film. He's not that much of a goodie, you know. He says he's a goody two shoes.
Oh.
I can't wait to get
Good.
to a
I
moment
think
of
it's
this.
I think it's good, bad. I'm the guy with the gun.
Yeah.
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 That I think that whole sequence, everything in the windmill. I know we'll get
From the
to
windmill
it.
onwards, it's
From
basically
the windmill
20 minutes of
onwards.
the best cinema I've ever seen.
It's so good. It's so good. And like I was like belly laughing at when he was we'll get to it.
We'll get to it.
But just looking at all the little mini Ashes as well and working out which one was Bruce Campbell and which one wasn't as well. Like, just going, wait, are none of them him? Is one of them him? None of them. I don't know. Okay, so yeah, in terms of cast, Bruce Campbell obviously is the lead as Ash and Evil Ash. Embeth Davidtz is Sheila. You may recognize her from Matilda. It's Miss Honey.
Miss Honey.
herself.
Miss Honey,
Mhm.
that's where I know her from.
And I remember of Bicentennial Man as well.
Isn't she in 13 Ghosts?
Oh, good question. I don't know. Is she?
I think she gets crushed by a wall.
She is. She is Kalina Orezia. She's in 13 Ghosts.
I've made this sound like I really like 13 Ghosts. I think I've seen it the once, maybe the twice.
Yeah, she's in that. She's
Isn't Monk also in it?
Yeah, Monk. Yeah.
Yeah, Monk's in it.
Monk's the dad, right?
Tony Shalhoub, who is like my weird crush.
No crush.
See why.
He's lovely.
I think I might have had a slight.
It's good competency porn, isn't it? It's just someone who's very good at their job, and it's like, yes,
Yeah.
you can see it working.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then everybody else. We've got Lord Arthur played by Marcus Gilbert, Ian Abercrombie as Wise Man. Who plays what's his name? The Red. Something the Red. What's his name? Who was that? Who was
now
that
you've
guy?
said the Red, I'm thinking of is Eric, but it's not.
Henry
the Red.
Henry the
Red.
Henry the Red.
Recognize that guy, but apparently not. Yeah. And there's just an ensemble cast made up of loads of people. Oh, wait. Bridget Fonda as well, right?
Yes, she's new Linda.
New Linda. I was confused for a second. I was like, hang on a minute. I think it was the haircut that threw me off. But yeah, she's new Linda in the flashbacks.
Yeah. Well, that's her single white female haircut, isn't it? That's when she was.
Oh,
just got it done.
Yeah.
And Bill Moseley, Chop Top himself, is a Deadite captain.
Ah.
Which is interesting. And so Ash is playing like Evil Ash and the sort of leader of the army as well, right? Bruce Campbell is playing him as well. Because when there were close-ups of his eyes, I was like, it's him without a doubt. But
it absolutely is. Yeah.
The other sequences, I was a bit unsure. But yeah, that's cool.
So he's basically in almost every shot of this movie.
Yeah. And so it pretty much starts exactly where Evil Dead 2 left off, right?
Yeah, is it? You have to test my memory. It's been a while since I saw Evil Dead 2 as well. It flipped ever so slightly, right? Because doesn't Evil Dead 2 end with like the knights bowing down to him after he shoots a Deadite?
It retcons that ending. So it takes place. So like we see him falling from the sky again, but instead of him shooting a Deadite at the sky and them all going,
hail, and it's
hail,
like,
hail. There's no Deadite. So they just is one of Emery's dudes. Get
him.
Yeah. And obviously the car lands there as well. What's the car called? The
Oldsmobile.
Oldsmobile. Deadsmobile, I nearly said. The Oldsmobile goes with him as well. And yeah, he essentially gets immediately captured by Lord Arthur and
Yeah.
his men, and they suspect him of being a spy for Duke Henry.
But apart from the wise man, who's like,
Isn't he the man that they said would fall from the sky? The
Yeah.
hero that was promised. He's now, shut up, Merlin.
seems unlikely.
We're just
Shut up,
we're gonna capture him. He's one of the Henry lads. So let's get him, and then we have a little flashback. I love how Ash has got a really solid guess of the year, and his little narration is like, "My best guess is that it's 1391,
Yeah.
and I'm on my way to my death."
That's a great guess. He's a historian. We never knew it. And yeah, we get a flashback to essentially like fill in the blanks of everything that led up to this. But again, some bits are obviously changed based on the fact different actresses playing Linda, but it's just like a fast forward through all those scenarios.
I kind of love the little efficient storytelling of Evil Dead 2, like especially when it shows his hand going all like Sharpie bad, and it's like, so I chopped it off, and then it's a really nice little efficient recap, and it's done in a really stylish way. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah,
all films should begin with this,
with Bruce Campbell doing a recap.
Exactly, and a different actress playing one of the main stars from the previous film as well. Definitely, don't even mention it. So yeah, when this happens, they enslave him, but they also take a shotgun and his chainsaw.
My favorite thing is that his hands are in the what are those things called?
Stocks,
but he hasn't got a hand.
No.
He can take it out at any point.
So just his wrist is in it.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see it on your background, but he could get that out.
He could do it
because even if it's attached, you can just slide it out. It's like a Lego brick.
Yeah.
Amazing. And they're like whipping him, and then when they take him back to the castle, which is when he meets Henry the Red, Duke Henry the Red, who's also going to be killed essentially for being a. And
they give people a chance to like basically beat shit out of him as they're coming in, right? Because
all the little kids like have a go.
Poke him with an umbrella in the tummy and everything. They're like slapping him and bashing him, and then Sheila is there. So this is Embeth, Davidtz' character. She's what happened to her brother? And the Lord kind of tells her, "Oh no, sorry, he ate shit while we were out doing fights." And she goes and like as lovely scratching him, does some hair pulling.
Blames poor Ash. Not
any of the men that are in uniform from.
Or actual Henry the Red that's there.
The opposing army, all of them are in uniform. The one person that is not in any identifying clothes.
I feel like they're not celebrating enough for having captured actual Henry the Red if he's their main enemy.
Oh yeah, he's just there as well. Oh, and Henry the Red. Why not?
But less important than this guy that we've just found, this shirtless man.
So they open a pit. And throw. Who do they throw in first? It's not Henry the Red, obviously. Just some dude, just some fodder. Throw him in there, and I quite like this sort of slow reveal of the pit and sort of everybody looking down as well. And then obviously the guys sort of like red blood. It's flying up as well.
Very Monty Python, isn't it? They all sort of lean over,
and then they sling old Ash into there. What conversation does he have with Henry as well?
Just tell him I'm not one of your dudes, and he's like,
"Oh wait, what does he say about you've got two things, Jack and shit?" And what does he say?
Jack left town.
Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. It's great. It's great banter.
They don't even throw him in a pit. He falls in after being hit in the head with a rock. I mean, he's hitting the head with a rock, and then he's just like, ooh.
Yeah.
Like,
giddily teetering on the edge, and then he tumbles in.
Yeah,
but like Henry the Red says, "Oh, they won't believe me if I say he's not one of my guys. They'll just say nah." So I'm not going to say anything. You could try.
Henry the Red got like a kind of a mullet going on as well, right?
Yeah,
pretty extreme mullet going on. I like it.
Henry the Red has so much charisma. Like he's not in it a super lot, but he's just great.
No wonder the other Lord doesn't like him.
Yeah,
if you joined, that. Spoilers, when they join kingdoms at the end, Henry the Red's going to be the de facto leader, right?
Oh, yes.
That's who I'd follow, Henry the Red, every time.
and he like turns up late, like later on.
Yeah.
Like he just doesn't care. He just operates on his own time.
Case in point, what is the other guy's name?
Which guy?
Arthur?
Arthur, yeah, Lord Arthur.
Lord
Arthur
He's
Check.
got like a tiny little fringe. He's got like a
Courtney Cox fringe from
Courtney
Scream
Cox.
3.
That's exactly what I was trying to say. That's exactly what I was trying to say.
There's some eggs nearby. I could make the psychic connection.
The most iconic fringe of all time, 100%. Yeah, so
He's in the pit now.
I like when he gets thrown into the pit because there's like a bit of tension going on in there, even though he's just got in there. It felt a bit like Luke Skywalker in, is it Return of the Jedi, when he ends up
Tossed
in
into the Rancor.
pit?
Mm.
Tossed into the Rancor pit. It felt a bit like that. Like you didn't know what's going to happen. Oh, where's it going to come from? Yeah, and the Deadite is kind of like underwater. And
But
then,
it's
like,
brilliant
out.
because it has like so he fights the like one did it, and you're like, "Whew, glad that's over." And then a bloody
Yeah.
another one comes out of the wall.
Oh,
Yeah.
Big Face comes out of the wall.
Oh, big face.
Oh, big face.
And also a bit of drama. Not really fair. Like, oh, hang on, this guy hasn't been geysered immediately, so let's put the spikes on. They've combined 2 Star Wars bits in one.
Yeah, they have.
The garbage crusher and the Rancor pit.
Did you always feel sorry for the guy who was like the Rancor keeper who cries after the Rancor gets
Yeah, he
killed?
loved that animal.
I always felt sorry for him. Like, oh,
It's okay. He gets his
devastated.
He gets a second chance at life, doesn't he? In
Boba
what's
Fett.
it called? Yeah, that's that.
He does.
It's all
Spoiler.
right now.
But I just get, even in like, this is quite cool because the Deadite makeup, it's still really effective even in like broad daylight. I guess this is the first time we see
Yeah.
Deadites milling about in the daylight, but it's
Yeah.
still super effective. I think it's a great look. It's a
What I
great look
like
in a similar way to like Buffy with the furrowed brows of
Yeah.
vampires and stuff. The Deadites have got such a specific look, but it is genuinely creepy, I think.
You see, I like that Deadites have a specific look versus just a zombie, but they also come in a great deal of variety. Like you've got, like just in this pit, you've got the big sort of heavily prosthetic, like bloated monster, like the Swamp Witch Deadite that they have. But at the same time, then you've got like a really kind of acrobatic, just nasty person.
Oh yeah,
like
the backflips,
flipping
the
around,
backflips.
and you know, like they have like a really kind of athletic fight. The bit where like the punches, it's just so well done. It's like POV from Bruce Campbell's point of view, and then just one of the punches, the actor playing the Deadite proper like winds a fist up and then like punches him again. It's really, really
I've
good.
never punched anyone, but if I do, I might do one of those.
A little wind up. Ooh, pop.
Next time
always
someone moves
works.
their pins out, you're like, right.
Right, that's it. It's a great fight, but yeah, that comment that we said before about all the camera work is, I mean, it's ever so kinetic. Like when you were looking out for it, it is really impressive what they did with the camera, just especially during these fight sequences. Not just this one, but also the one with the old lady in a little while as well. Just insane, just so good. And the fact that even though he's got a shotgun, he's doing flying kicks and stuff. You know, he's making a show of it.
Yeah, he's going for it, and then the wise man throws down his chainsaw hand to him.
I love that
Lunges up.
shot.
Yeah, that was good.
He's engineered such a good chainsaw, and it literally just pops straight on.
Ah, it's unbelievable.
Good fitting.
It's engineering. He's wasted working.
I mean,
at
he would
S-Mart.
make an amazing OT, an occupational therapist.
That's okay. I live with a doctor. I got it.
Me just staring blankly ahead.
If he ever wants to stop fighting Deadites or working up S-Smart, then he should go into healthcare.
Really go into orthopedics.
Yeah.
A hand he makes as well.
Yeah.
Insane.
Oh, that later on. That is a wonderful bit of engineering that he makes immediately. So he gets out. He avoids the Deadites by fighting them. Chops one of them to bits. Chops the hand off another one, and then, thankfully, the mechanism of the crushing spikes has a chain that he can wrap his belt around. But weird thing to pick out. But I was watching it with Karen. She was saying, "Why don't you just hold it with his hand? Be less dramatic." He has to throw his belt around it.
Yeah.
And he
He's
gets
make
out
a show of it.
time. And then they're all afraid. Did I look away for a second? How does he get his shotgun back? Does the wizard also throw that to him?
No, I don't remember. Did he
I
not
think
just
he
have it
just-
all the time?
I think he just gets it back once all the people are kind of like, oh, he killed a
Yeah.
deadite, because he kills one outside of the pit as well, doesn't he?
That's how That's how he shows he has the boomstick. At first, he
Yeah.
just crawls out and he's just got his chainsaw
okay.
on. He's like,
Got you.
"Who else wants some? You?"
Oh yeah, I do enjoy that though. That little, no, not me. What, me? Oh him. He said something. What me?
It's good. It's fantastic bit of acting. The guy he does single out. He goes, "How about you?" And the guy is entirely on his own. He like looks behind him in case there's anyone. I think that's
It's
what
great
these
though.
filmmakers are so good at. These little, just genuine reactions. There are so many films which are otherwise incredible that don't have just those real kind of. They are natural, but they're also exaggerated, like quite comedic reactions, like the guy looking behind him, and then when someone does come in, he like pushes him forward. He's like, "No, no, I don't want."
Tangentially, well, I can't say it. It's connected in some way. Is have you ever seen Miller's Crossing?
Yes.
Yeah.
What Sam Raimi is in that. He gets shot, and when he gets shot, he's like,
Oh God. Dial it down a bit, Sam.
no, it's amazing.
I shan't.
Yeah, he probably goes for it.
That's what you want. You want a memorable performance.
Yeah.
And yeah, like he goes, and then you're right, Ben. He's already threatened all the people, and then the deadite that he was fighting and chopped the arm off gets out of the pit. He blows it away with his shotgun, and then his other iconic line, he points out that this is my boomstick, and he does some effective shouting to make them all jump.
And a good sales pitch.
Yeah. Remembering his training.
Oh, yeah.
He goes through the
Made in Michigan.
Yeah.
He talks about everything. Talks about the stocks. Talks about the
Yeah.
sort of...
It's retail price. I wonder what that retails for these days.
Exactly.
Make it
So
change
yeah,
to 500.
essentially, he's pretty much like celebrated as a hero now, isn't he? Like after killing the deadites.
Yeah, he's being fed. He's being fed grapes, like lowered into his mouth. I think it would be quite difficult for someone to feed you grapes. I think you would just want to do it yourself.
Yeah, it's a choking hazard as well, isn't it?
It is a choking hazard. You're not supposed to.
I
give them
wouldn't be able
kids,
to
eh?
relax and enjoy the hedonism of it for the fear of
No, I only want one. I've got one of the sticks in my mouth. If
Yeah.
someone
I used
was,
to get-
if I was an emperor and someone would like if they would get them off the stalks one by one and hand them to me, I think that's as far as I'd take it. I don't want them lowered into my mouth.
I'd eat something better than grapes. You know what I mean?
I wonder if there's a step beyond that we never saw, where they just like
No, do the
help
chewing as
them
well.
chew it, just like
Chop it up.
smashing their chin.
Yeah.
Like,
Or
chew
they could do
it.
like a bird scenario where they chew it for them and then just like spit it in
Yeah.
their mouth.
Stick it into his mouth. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes more sense.
Well, the Greeks liked a bit of that as well, didn't they? Was
A
that
bit
the
of mouth-
Romans?
Their mouth sicking. They're into
No,
all
they
sorts
had
of
vomit
stuff.
rooms, didn't they? Was
Oh,
that the-
that's right. When you
Oh yeah.
ate too much and you got a poorly tongue, you had to go and be
Oh.
sick in the sick room.
I was
Yeah.
going to the vomit room. Don't wait up. So did they explain like why? Like, does Lord Arthur explain at this point like how the Deadites have come into like the castle and
I think he's like
how
they're
that's working?
plaguing us, they're
Yeah.
bothering us, they're dumping their rubbish in our bins when they shouldn't be.
And people's
PS2
people's
games.
rubbish didn't have addresses on it then, so you couldn't find out where it was.
Yeah.
And Ash lets the other prisoners go. He sets them free.
Oh yeah, he yeah.
Let my people go.
And
Yeah.
Henry the Red does a lovely little like
He grabs there's one of the guards. He like grabs him by the collar. He's like, ah!
I mean, Henry the Red, he's the man. He's great.
And
What a
again,
legend.
talking about Jim Carrey being a big Army of Darkness fan, he would do that exact thing when he shakes the mayor's hand at the end of The Grinch, where he does a proper like pulls him in and like see all Army of Darkness.
It's the other Deadite. Is this when the other Deadite like turns up, like
Yeah.
the old lady
Yeah.
one?
Yeah, she just
Um,
spins around.
Yeah, that's it.
It goes, hey, you'll never get the book, you'll die. And he goes, right, I wasn't even going to go and get the book, but now
Don't tell me I can't do something, because I'll immediately want to do it.
It does show that he's grown as a character, though, because like when the old lady says her piece and falls down, in inverted commas, dead, Lord Arthur is going to go and look, and he's about to put a hand on it, and he grabs the hand and goes, "No, no, it's a track. Get an axe."
I do love a good dead out reveal in the Evil Dead. I think when somebody when you see the back of somebody's head, you know something's up.
You're about to be a deadite.
You're about to be deadited. And it's great. And of course, yeah, the fight with this one as well. It goes on because it goes on forever, despite the fact I was getting like They Live fight sequence vibes from this.
There's some really good little incidental, really throwaway lines from extras in this bit. There's a bit where one of the guards like lunges at the deadite witch, and she throws, like, I'm guessing just a glass of wine or something in his face. And he goes, "I'm blind." So good.
Is this does Ash say "yo she bitch" to this one as well, or is that somebody else?
Yeah.
Is it yo she
I think
bitch?
it's this bit, yeah.
Yeah. It's great. And there's So then kind of what happens after that? Is this when he
agrees he'll take on the quest, and that's when he goes and engineers an incredible goblet crushing mesh.
One of my favorite sequences in this movie as well. It's very hard to say one of my favorite sequences because there's a lot of really brilliant sequences. But this like, I love it when he opens his car. It's like chemistry 101. Like,
yes, it's so good. It's so good. And we get two in a film, right? We get the hand now, and we get an entire arsenal in preparation for the final battle. But it is so good.
But I love it when he crushes the gauntlet, and then you see Sheila and the blacksmith.
Everybody like, oh my god!
It's like they're both really turned on by it.
And who wouldn't be?
Exactly.
It would almost be worth having lost your hand if you could get like a crushing metal one.
Yeah.
Again, he should be an occupational therapist. He has the skills.
Yeah, rehabilitation rates from people who've been to the Ash Williams would be through the roof, I'd imagine.
So
they'd be flying him over all over the place to get his consulting chops.
After this, him and Sheila have got like a bit of a mutual attraction to each other, and another iconic line. I mean, the iconic lines are just obviously he says groovy.
Coming.
He says groovy about the hand as well. But yeah, with Sheila, why did she hit him?
Well, he does a bit of negging first, doesn't he? He's obviously read that playbook written by bad blokes about pulling people. Where she comes and she goes, "Oh, I'm sorry about
earlier.
Sorry, I lobbed a rock at your head. I am sorry though, and now you're the hero. I've made you this perfect replica of the blue shirt from the first one." And he goes, "Oh, thanks. Needed bloody horse blanket." And she's
he does say that, doesn't he? She's fuming. She's fuming at that.
And he goes, "Oh, actually, I've probably gone too far." And he runs after her and he asks her politely, like good neighbors would, if she could give him some sugar. And they're in love now.
Yeah, that's how it works. Give me some sugar. And she does. And there we go. No, not sweetener, actual sugar.
No stevia in medieval times.
Oh yeah, honey. Because she was
Miss honey.
Yeah, I like it.
Years later, that's how she would be cast in that role.
Yes. I have experience giving out sugar.
Do you? Name one example. No. Well.
And then obviously now it's time for Ash's quest. He speaks to the wise man about getting home. And the only way that he can return to his time is using the Necronomicon as well to get back. Necronomicon brought him here, and it needs that to send him back as well. So he begins to search, which takes him through classically a haunted forest.
He is given one very specific instruction.
Of course.
To simply recite some chosen words, maybe from the day the earth stood still. And he's like, "Yeah, I know. I've got your words."
Oh no! Do it again. Say them out loud again.
Is it like?
Give it a test, Ben. What are the magic words?
Klaatu, Barada.
It's essentially the alien from the day the earth stood still. That's where it's from.
Is that what it's from?
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I thought everyone knew that.
Oh,
No.
sorry to get you on us. These
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 tidbits.
bits of trivia.
Is it what I kind of like about the character here is that yeah, sure, he is really confident as Ash now, but he's a little bit overconfident with
Oh yeah,
moments like this.
he's a legit moron
Cocky.
at times.
He's just cocky in his own. It's almost like because in this world, he's nothing like he was back on, well,
Yeah.
not on Earth, but back in his time. So it's almost like he's really cocky and confident with it, where he's like, I'm a badass here, so I can just do what I want.
I think like because he keeps calling them like primitive. He's just like,
oh yeah,
idiots.
You don't know about the chemistry I've got in this book. You don't know about metal hands and boomsticks.
Yeah.
He does. Okay, and when he's on his journey in the Haunted Forest, an unseen force, which of course the Evil Dead films are really big fans of, a camera on a plank of wood in the original, wouldn't it? It starts chasing him through the Haunted Forest, and he takes refuge inside a lovely windmill.
And so begins the best 20 minutes ever committed to film.
Yeah. So so it starts with him smashing that mirror. That's where
he runs into it.
Is it because he sees the reflection and he remembers? Because is it both Evil Dead 1 and 2 where he looks at reflection, it turns into a badman, and it comes out and strangles him?
Yeah. There's
so he's obviously learned his lesson. He's learned his lesson, so he immediately shoulder barges the mirror and smashes it to bits. But then loads of little blokes come out.
Yeah, from the shards come tiny miniature ashes.
Yeah. And then we get some really good like physical comedy with these tiny little dudes.
So good.
First thing they do is stab him up the arse with a fork. What do they say? Ramming speed.
Ramming speed.
Ramming speed.
And they've got slightly sped up voices, right?
Yeah, it did remind me of those little people in the gate. Remember when when the person fell down and turned all into tiny little ones, little stop motion fellas. But yeah, you could tell looking closely. They all definitely look like Bruce Campbell, but they're all just little lookalikes. But I liked it. It was a really good.
And there's a good shot of where he goes to step on one, and they have a nail.
They have like a needle.
Home Alone.
This was the bit that made me belly laugh, is because when he's doing London Bridge is falling down, and when he stands on the nail, and all the other ones go, "My fair lady,"
and then with like a jazz hands finish.
Yeah, it's so good because the way he reacts to everything is like in agony as well, like a little fork up his ass. Yeah, everything. And whenever he leaps, it smashes his head on things.
Ash Williams has never got like a simple paper cut. Everything is like to 11. It's so good. This little bit. So they're fighting him, and he does the big tripping over. I sometimes when I'm playing with my dog, I'll pretend I'm going to stamp on him while doing London Bridge is falling down. And his shape, I never would.
I never would, but I want him to think I would.
Nah.
That power dynamic, keep it there.
Yeah, then he trips me over and I bang my head on a pipe, and then he tries to jump into my mouth. Because that's what happens. He gets knocked unconscious, and then when he wakes up, they've tied him up, and one of them jumps into his mouth. They pinch his nose, so he has to open his mouth, and one of them gets it. It's like beating him up on the inside. So I know what will solve this.
I was gonna say, like, the effects in this movie are generally really great. Some of the effects in this scene.
Oh, when they're sort of pinching his nose, and there's two.
There's some bits that maybe
two little blokes in front of what looks like a video screen of Bruce Campbell lying on the floor going, ah.
I kind of love it though. I kind of love it.
Oh, it was so good. And then he solves the fact that one is inside him beating up by drinking water straight out of the kettle.
Oh yeah. That's showing you.
That's one of those things. I think Evil Dead continues to do this.
Yeah.
So well. Like we spoke about it. I wasn't on that. I just thought it while I was listening to you, Ben. I wasn't there for that episode. It's really good at you see something that could happen to you, and it's with something that you've encountered. It's not just a monster's going to punch your head off and then that'd be you dead. like the cheese grater in the new one.
Mm.
I can imagine hurting myself with a cheese. I never have, but I can. What if I did? I can imagine that hurting. Whenever you grate and then your fingers go too close to it, you can imagine what it would feel like. And the same. I've splashed myself with a bit of hot water from the kettle before, and I can imagine what it'd be like if you accidentally poured it directly into your mouth, and it'd be horrible. And even though this is a comedy film, it makes you wince because these are injuries that you can relate to.
Yeah, most definitely. That's the thing. It's just that. Even looking back at Evil Dead 2 when he's smashing the plates on his head.
That could happen to you.
That could happen to me.
We've all been there.
We've all been there.
We've all tried to unload the
I'm
dishwasher
not washing these up.
I'm not washing. Yeah, we've all been tempted to do that. What's that? Wash up 9 plates? Nah, in the bin. Get all new lot in. They did something.
Oh, this
recently
one's chipped. Bang them out.
They did something recently on Impractical Jokers where Bruce Campbell was on it, and they were like recreating some stunts he'd done in Evil Dead films. And I don't know how real this was because it kind of felt a bit dangerous. But they did a thing where they got one of the guys to like smash plates on his head, like stunt plates, but they put a real plate in there. Like halfway
one
through.
of these is really good. They did that to Bruce Campbell, surely. They did it to one of the Jokers.
They did it to one of the Jokers, yeah.
So you're not doing that to Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, I don't know how real it was, but
just another quick detour. Did any of you guys see Rob Kemp's show, The Elvis Dead?
No.
Where he
No.
Oh, it's a really good show. I think you can get it on Go Faster, Stripe, or like you can get it on like one of the comedy streaming services, like maybe like Next Up. A comedian called Rob Kemp retells the story of Evil Dead 2 through the songs of Elvis.
Oh my goodness!
And in that, he made loads of plates and smashed them on his head. It's
wow.
really good.
Check that out. Go Faster Stripe. I'm going to check that out.
I think it's on there. Yeah. In fact,
I have a copy here.
In fact, I have a copy in arm's reach. Here's one I made earlier.
I think I've put it back in the living room. It were on the table earlier. But, but yeah, The Elvis Dead by Rob Kemp. Really good.
Oh, nice.
Check that out. That sounds great. Yeah, brilliant physical comedy. At that point, after he's drunk the hot water, gets a bloody eye on his shoulder, and before you know it, there's 2 of him. He's like
the eye on the shoulder. Eye on the shoulder is great, though, isn't it? Like, I mean, it's a really good effect. But yeah, it sort of develops into a duplicate of him, and initially
for a while he has 2 heads and like kind of 2 torsos, and they're like punching.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite shots where he's like the moon's behind him and there's like 2 of them and he's just like
it's really good. And again, Bruce Campbell, I'm gonna keep pouring praise on him for this one. It's a silly movie, we know this, but he is an actor that can be in the same outfit and you can tell which is the good and evil one just without him opening his mouth. Yeah,
just from his eyebrows.
Work.
That's all it is. It's all eyebrow acting, and it's great because it's like an animatronic head initially, right? Some sort of, and it's like a practical head, and then the closer sequences, it's like a little split screen of him, isn't it? But I love that sequence where he develops. He's got like 4 legs and he's kind of scuttling around on his arse. That was great.
And then they hit a tree and
split.
Yeah, and they have like a standoff after that as
this
well.
Is your goody 2 shoes bit, right?
Yeah.
yeah. You're good
Ash. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. And what did he just like shotguns him in the face?
He shoots his face off and then chainsaws him into bits and goes, "Yeah, I'll teach you."
It's great, this sequence. What I like about this little scene as well is that when he's chaining him to like the table, getting ready to chainsaw him up to bits, it's like the noise of the windmill going round, like, and every time it kind of like whooshes round, it like fades to black. It's just really, really good, really effective. Nice little detail that I enjoyed. Dismembers him and buries him. You're never going to see him again, or will he?
I was absolutely killing myself laughing at the bit where as he throws the bag of evil ash bits into the grave, the head comes out and he goes, you'll never get the book, you'll die in the graveyard. He goes, you can't stand on your face then. It's like, what's that? He just wangs dirt in his face. So good. I had to pause because I was laughing too much. It was so funny.
It is good. It is good because even though, yeah, it's great. And then he moves on to actually getting the Necronomicon. But when he arrives, there are free versions of the books, right? It's free, isn't it?
Yeah. One of them sucks him into a vortex and stretches his face.
Yeah. How is literally in this like 30 minutes of the film? How has it got so many good bits one after another? So it stretches, pulls his face all the way down, and he's like shaking to get it back into place. And
you actually hear that.
Yeah.
Like,
I just kept looking, thinking how many versions of the face did they make? Because it does go sort of
Yeah.
back a bit and then back a bit more. And even when it was actually him, I was like, oh no, he still has got. Oh no, it's just Bruce Campbell's face. Very handsome man, of course.
Bruce Campbell as Ash in Army of Darkness in particular. I think in some point going through that vortex, he's been made into an imaginary friend. He has like drop dead Fred physiology in this because he doesn't manage
Drop
to
dead Fred. Well, when he gets his face
squashed in the fridge.
I can't believe that movie's got like a 6% rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh my god.
Loved that movie as a kid.
Yeah.
Me too. So good.
So dark. Okay, so how does he work out which book it's which book?
So the second one bites him.
Yeah,
that's right.
So basically, he like if he wasn't the main character, he'd been killed by this. If this was minor characters, all of them would have died in these things. But the second book bites him, and then he throws it away eventually, and then it's time to say the magic words.
Yeah, and unfortunately didn't pay attention, did he?
No.
He has been through a lot, to be fair.
That's what I kept thinking of. Thinking you'd get some. You would have got somebody to write it down initially.
I think they offer to write it down.
No, I know the words.
I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time for notes. Yeah, and he basically thinks he can get away with just coughing the last word. He's like, it begins with N. Definitely begins with N. Yeah, and then he's like, yeah, I'm convinced. I feel like he approaches life in a similar way to the way a lot of us do, which is maybe 2/3 of it you got correct, but maybe half-assed the final third. That's me at least. And he mumbles his way through the pronunciation, just takes the book and heads
Literal back. All hell breaks loose.
Yeah, and because he didn't utter the correct words, it summoned the army of darkness, the army of the dead.
Yeah, so all of the graves in the graveyard start exploding out of the ground. Back at the castle, lightning is striking all over the place. And just when you think there's no more slapstick to be had in this scene, I think this might be my favourite bit with the skeleton hands.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, it's great.
And there's so many, and they're taking it in turns to fish hook him. And that's the bit when he puts his hand between his eyes so they can't poke him in the eyes. And then one comes from either side and does it anyway. And then
one goes right in his mouth as well.
Yeah, and they're like fish hooking him, and they are like sticking their fingers up his nose, and they're pinned him to the floor. I think my favourite bit is when it just pauses for a second, and Bruce Campbell does about 3 seconds of like just screaming straight down the camera in terror before skeletal fists come from all sides, just all punch him. And then it does like the cartoon, like Tweety Bird, like someone is stunned noise.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's so good.
It is brilliant. I love it so much. But he escapes from the skeletons. Evil Ash comes out of the grave as well and is all prosthetic and looks different now. Yeah. He's got like his shotgunned off face, right? They've got like the buckshot in his
like burnt, chin.
So yeah, he basically rises from the dead and unites all the other Deadites into the army of darkness as Ash returns to the castle. And he's like, I got your book, send me back to my own time.
It's like, oh, did you read the words exactly? He's like, I did most of it, okay? And then they know.
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't pronounce every little syllable.
But you made the deal, send us home, and everyone's disappointed. It's the little blacksmith's face that breaks my heart the most. He's like,
I don't want him to leave.
Just sadly walks away.
Oh, bless him.
And they're kind of stitched up, but then some flying sort of hag deadite comes and robs off with that woman who he's kissed and is in love with now.
Sheila.
That's
Some
not a name.
woman. Have some respect for Miss Honey.
Sheila. Was there anyone called Sheila around in this time? Do you reckon?
Apparently.
When was this set? 1300?
1391, according to Ash.
Right, you carry on talking. I'm going to have a look
right,
at
find out when the name Sheila.
The origins of the name Sheila. So they just snatch Sheila.
Sheila
and
gets slurped off by a demon, flown off into the distance, and that kind of brings Ash round. He's like, "Oh no, they've messed with me for the last time. Now I've had it."
Because we see her sort of delivered to evil Ash as well. And first of all, he's trying to kind of like seduce her, I guess. But of course, he's scary and terrifying and undead and
gives her a
evil.
kiss and turns her bad with his magic.
Gives her a kiss and turns her bad. And she's pretty terrifying, I think.
Isn't there like just some other women that are being like taken off by the skeletons that we see just at the front of the screen as well?
Oh, right. They're just being slung into a pit or something.
There's also some great work with the language. Like they make such fun choices with the language of as they go in. Like when Evil Ash is getting the skeletons to basically dig up other skeletons for his army.
Yeah.
And my favorite one is he tells the skeleton handsomely now.
yeah. Like the character of Evil Ash is great as well. Like he's just so matter of fact. Get me that. It's time we get that book for me now, isn't it? Get me into that castle.
And so they're digging up their army of the dead, and with contemporary woman of the hour named Sheila, they now bad. Alice is back. When does Sheila invented?
I mean, it was mostly popular in like 1900s, but it does say we're in the Bible. But like,
it was in the Bible.
There's a Sheila in the Bible.
There's a Sheila in the Bible. No.
What's that? The Book of Bruce.
Oh yeah, remember that bit? Remember that passage where they said about Sheila? Yeah.
When Jesus went to Australia the first time.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Jesus in Australia. Jesus
in Australia sounds like a movie.
Jesus in Australia. You have deserts there. You could hang out in them for 40 days or nights. Yeah. We don't know. The world's changed. I mean, it was a long time ago. Maybe it was a whole Pangea situation. So
Panshila? No, that doesn't work.
Panshila. Or maybe I haven't read all of the tie-in comics. Maybe Sheila's also a time traveler.
I thought you were going to say I haven't read all of the Bible.
I read all of the
Bible. Read all of the Bible. Something in the back.
I skimmed it.
Have you read the main stories? But
none of the side quests.
Genuinely, or
no.
None of the side quests. They're the best bit. So that basically Ash rallies all of the humans. A lot of people have fled though, so there's only like they say like 60.
We are only but 60 men. But he says, "Oh well,
60 men.
Go and get our red mate. Go and get him. Go and get him in."
He convinces them quite quickly, doesn't he? Obviously, Lord Arthur's like Duke Henry the Red isn't going to help us, but everyone kind of like rallies along. If you notice, Ted Raimi, Sam Raimi's brother, was there as like one of the villagers. He definitely had a glue-on beard in that scenario.
Yeah. Is the first person that agrees to join him his mate, the blacksmith? He's like, "I'll join you.
I'll join you. I'll be for."
And then blacksmith,
yeah. And then we do get a sequence as well of Ash showing them how to fight as well, right? Which is quite funny.
Top class montage there.
Teaching him moves, making bombs because his chemistry book has how to make explosives. Literally a section, explosives.
His chemistry book's got absolutely loads in it.
I love the bit where like the wizard, the wise man, is like examining like the gunpowder by a candle. He's like, no. And he like slides it away with his hand.
Oh, just those little details.
It's a great
sequence. So good. And they get ready for battle. And then I'm gonna say it, like in the bin, the Battle of Helm's Deep. This is better. I love it. It's so good.
In the bin, the Battle of Helm's Deep.
I mean,
Exactly. I mean, it's on a par for epicness. I mean, slightly less numbers, of course. But so initially when the Deadites attack, they dispatch like the first wave quite easily, don't they?
with explosive arrows, they just blow them.
Mm.
They just blow them up.
Yeah.
And then they've got basically they've got loads of medieval weapons, but plus explosive. Because then they've got explosive catapult that blows up more than them, but they do manage to batter the door down.
Oh, and I love all the like the drummers and the like.
Oh yeah,
You get all of that.
The Army of Darkness does not skimp on pageantry.
No. If anything,
Not at all.
Yeah.
cranks it up.
I mean, I'm not into the royals and all of the stuff that they do, but I would be convinced to go and watch the changing of the guard and stuff if they did have skeletons.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
All of
That'd
their
probably be the
skeletons are in the closet. Not.
Oh, she
much.
went there. She went there.
So yeah, they're out there. I love the ones that have got like the little sets of drums, like the little skull drums that can, like, yeah. The Army of Darkness has really gone for it stylistically.
Most definitely. Yeah, super impressive.
So yeah, they fend off the first wave, but then they do break in.
Yeah. Breach.
I like Evil Ash's like little, like he's like his little commander guy. They've got like the melty faceman who's like his scout, and it's like it's most likely going to be in there, Your Majesty, if you're just like just a nice little touch that he isn't just Evil Ash, Evil Sheila, and his army of plastic skeletons. There's some variety to them still.
Yeah. Like they've all got their own personalities. They were all alive once.
Yeah.
One of them, probably was a baker.
Yeah. Well, there's like different themes because there's some Scottish pipers, aren't there? They have some
With beards.
With
they
beards.
have beards.
Well, it's well known if you're a Highland warrior, your beard doesn't decay even long after death. Yeah. So they're there. Yeah, they breach the castle, and once they're in, they start losing men, right? They start to get overwhelmed, even with their fight training, and they do the whole drill as they approach they go, they do all right at fighting, but the Deadites are getting close. Then Ash comes out in the Oldsmobile, which is now basically a death machine with like a rotating blade on the front.
Which is, could be indiscriminately ploughing people.
Chopping his own guys. Thankfully, we only see it get skeletons.
100%.
So he's mowing down all the skeletons, but then who should he see standing there but nice Sheila in a flowing dress like she's Kate Bush. And he
rather than human form.
Yeah, in human form. But rather than just doing an emergency stop, just writes his car off, literally smashes it to oblivion. And after
insurance claim.
And after that, not even Sheila, is it? She's a horrible big four-head ghost now.
It's obvious, though, isn't it? But I like the fact that when he sees her as a Deadite, he doesn't like. He kind of just fights her and essentially just dispatches her without really caring about saving her or turning her back or anything. So that's it.
He doesn't do the whole thing where you try and reason with her. There is no dialogue where it's like, I know you're in there. He literally just kicks her into the pit.
Yeah. And he does she comes at him and she stabs him. He stabs her and like flips her over as well. That's a good move.
Tosses her into the pit there. Is this the bit where we get to see Ash fighting some skeletons, which is basically the production crew throwing some skeletons at him and him like throwing them back or like fighting them? My favorite one being the one he picks up over his head and does like a Bane like backbreaker on, like smashed it in half.
Wow, that's a great move.
It's so good.
Forget Ray Harryhausen's stop motion skeletons in Jason and the Argonauts. Is that right?
Yeah, Jason and the Argonauts.
Forget that. This is up there. It's one of the
Just
best.
A practical skeleton that Bruce Campbell gets to smash.
So good. And then obviously goes 1-on-1 with Evil Ash as well. This is a good battle. I enjoy this.
Yeah. A
Some
good
sword
climactic
play.
for a fantasy film. Again, like, good, some good lines. I think Evil Sheila comes back again and gets kicked off another parapet. Tells her, you used to love me once, you got
No,
real ugly.
you found me beautiful once, and then
That's
I think
it.
he says something like, "Well, honey, you got real ugly."
You
Yeah.
got real
He
ugly,
does say
baby. Thrown. And then
See you
he
later.
sets Evil Ash on fire, and then throws him off. He comes back as a skeleton then. And Evil Ash has managed to get his hands on the book. He's fought through all of the other guys. Henry the Red turns up and they begin to turn the tide of battle, but he's got the Necronomicon, but he manages to jump down onto an ignited catapult rock that's about to explode. What does he say as he chops that? He does some great punches where he spins his head around and his eyes are still going, which is great. And then I forget his pithy one-liner before he sends him up to be exploded.
Yeah, I can't remember. It's
Something
just
about going for a ride or something like
stacked
that.
full of one-liners, isn't it?
And then he sends him up. He explodes with Evil Ash destroyed. I love it how it isn't just magic and all the skeletons crumble to dust. They just run away.
Yeah. See you later. But Sheila does turn back to normal Sheila, right?
Yeah, she just turned back into nice Sheila.
Which is handy, isn't it? Yeah.
And they've done it. I mean, we've rattled through that battle scene, but it is it's like a 20-minute scene of just brilliant physical comedy, practical effects, and just fun. I can't imagine this was anything but an absolute riot to be on set to be one of these warriors fighting plastic skeletons.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Being stabbed up by them. Or just must have been so funny being like when they were putting this together in post and doing like the little incidental voices, because a bit where Ash chops like a bag like a rope, and he's lifted up to the top section of the castle, and there's like a legless skeleton crawling towards him, and "I'll cut out your gizzard," and he's like got a little knife in his hands. It's really good.
If I was in this, I would have totally stolen a skeleton.
Yes.
To take home with me.
I do a few days on set and get a piece at a time so you can sneak it out in your clothes.
Yeah.
You're holding your arm a bit stiff today. You're holding your arm a bit stiff today, Alice. Have you got a?
Nope.
So obviously this battle brings peace between Arthur and Henry as well, which is nice.
Big standoff first though. They sort of stand and say, "Oh no."
Oh yeah, of course.
With their common foe vanquished, and now they're going to turn on each other, and Ash and Sheila look a bit concerned, but they run to the middle and have a big hug. Yes.
Oh, that's what a lovely moment.
And they pledge that a new kingdom is born.
Yeah. Then the wise man basically tells Ash how to get back to his time, which is gives him a potion and tells him to have, is it 6 drops? 6 drops of the potion, and then
you don't want to get it wrong.
No,
definitely don't get it wrong.
And say the magic words.
Oh, not the magic words again. There are a couple of endings for this, though, right?
Yes.
There are more than one ending. So there's like an
right?
original ending, and then so I'm assuming we all saw the one with the original ending. I guess we'll talk about both.
Well, the one that is most commonly used is the happy ending.
Yeah, where he's back in the
rather
shop,
than the apocalypse ending. The apocalypse ending was the original ending, and they were like,
okay, no,
because the two main things they changed, the not producers, like the distributors changed with the name of this, and they asked to do the ending. So originally the name was going to be Medieval Dead, which obviously is way better.
Why do producers fuck everything?
Well, they don't, because they made them reshoot it and do the happy ending, which I do think is better.
Fine.
50, it's got another iconic line though.
Yeah, of course. So in the happy ending, he's back working at S-Mart. He's talking to
regaling people of his triumph.
Yeah. I love it how most people, like Ted Raimi doesn't believe him, but a lot of people seem to. It's like, oh, that story that you could have been a king, I think it's really cute.
Yeah.
I have got a metal hand. That should be some kind of proof.
Yeah. Come on. It's 100% proof.
Yeah.
And then does a deadite turn up? Is
Mhm.
that right?
Yeah. And
Which
it's
he
about
quickly vanquishes.
Yeah, we've got like lots of bullets in that shotgun.
Mm.
Um,
Although, like, people aren't believing him, I feel like the deadite probably helped him out a little
Yeah.
bit.
Oh yeah.
yeah,
100%.
I reckon even Ted Raimi's turned around on this story by then.
Yeah.
Sorry, I ever doubted you.
Yeah.
Do you know, Alice, though, when they chose it, is it just because they wanted the ending to be happier, or were they looking at
Yeah.
franchise potential and sequels?
No, I think they were just like, the other ending's too much of a bummer.
Yeah.
That was the official meeting words in the meeting. But like,
Too much of a bummer.
The ending's too much of a bummer.
So the alternate ending, he miscounts the drops.
He
right?
gets distracted and puts an extra drop in, and then he wakes up and he's got a big long beard, and he goes, "I slept too long," and they're like,
hundreds
the
of years, and his beard's like just
And there's
like
flying deadites in the air, and there's all sorts of.
He's in London
Big
as well.
Ben's there.
Yeah. Post-apocalyptic London.
I guess he was in London. Like, it's never explained. I mean, he got sucked into a vortex. I guess that could put you anywhere. But he would have if he just travelled. If he just travelled forward, wouldn't he not be in modern day England and not?
Maybe. But
yeah,
and like I don't mind this ending. But I like the happy ending. It's just a bit more, because he also says "Hail to the King, baby," which is just like a great line. And if we had the other ending, we wouldn't have that. So.
Yeah, a great line to finish off the movie, and a delightful movie overall.
Yeah,
great film. Okay, so the name game. Andy, have you got any name game prepared?
I've got two. It's oddly hard to rhyme this one.
It is, yeah. I've got a couple as well. So, do you want to go first, Andy?
Okay.
Do you need a refresher of how name game works? Alice, do you remember?
No, it's a game with some names.
Yeah,
I got it.
It'll be fine.
That's pretty much it. I wasn't trying to be condescending at all. You will be surprised how many people don't understand the concept of it.
Yeah.
This is why we have you back so often, Alice. A professional. You know how to play a game. A simple word game. You've got it nailed.
Yeah. I'm already trying to think of what you might have done.
Do you have the synopsis, Ben, that we can crib from?
Yeah. So the synopsis is Ash Campbell. No. Ash Williams.
Campbell.
Bruce Williams. Bruce Williams. Ash Williams is trapped in the Middle Ages and battles the undead in his quest to return to the present.
Okay, so Ash Campbell / Ash Williams is trapped in the distant past and must battle to return to the present against a force of like a very once obscure Marvel witch and a man from Doctor Who and lots of people that also share that last name.
Marvel.
A witch from
a once obscure Marvel witch character before she rose to popularity. A man from
Scarlet
Doctor
Witch.
Who, played
Scarlet
by
Witch,
a problematic actor who thinks M. Night Shyamalan's The Beach is shite, and lots of other people that share that last name. Fights a big force of them.
Oh my god, I'm just trying to remember. Like, there's so much information there. It's the guy who plays the American in Doctor Who, right?
Yeah, what's that character's name?
Oh, what is his name? Jack
Sparrow. No, not Jack Sparrow.
What's his last name that rhymes with darkness?
Jack Hart. I don't know.
Yeah, but you've almost got it. Who's the obscure Marvel witch character that's about to get her own series after being in WandaVision?
Oh, Agnes of
you also
Agatha.
And what's her last name that rhymes with darkness?
Harkness.
That's right. So what is he fighting, Ben?
What's it got to do with a Doctor Who person? Where does that come into it?
He's also got the same last name.
Oh, an army of Harkness.
That's right. Thank goodness.
The
army of Harkness.
Thank God for that.
Rolls off the tongue.
Wow. It's the simple ones that get you. Okay. In my film, Army of Darkness is remade in 2023, starring an actor who may or may not indulge in a little bit of real life cannibalism, apparently, according to some people who've accused him.
Army Hammer of Darkness.
Yeah, Alice, you were silent when you said that. What happened?
I was trying to think. I was just saying Army Hammer.
I thought you were saying it, but I couldn't hear you. It's Army Hammer of Darkness. Correct.
Alice did say it's just used my voice to do it.
Yes.
I thought so. That was really good.
It's like a badly dubbed martial arts movie. Alice's mouth stopped moving.
Okay.
And then a voice you didn't expect comes out. Right, I've just got one more for you, Ben.
Yeah.
Following the end of the events of Evil Dead 2, Ash finds himself transported through time and space, but thankfully to a far less hazardous environment. In this situation, he only has to deal with a fairground worker who is working unethically at an attraction built on one of Scotland's largest lakes, where they think a monster might live.
Army of Loch Ness?
It's not an army. It's just one fairground worker that he has to deal with.
Carney.
Yeah, so it's the Carney.
Of Loch Ness.
It's the Carney of, but they've built a tourist attraction there, like a place with roller coasters and things. So it's the Carney of this new tourist attraction that's been opened on the site of the big lake.
Too much going on.
That's right. He's dealing with the Carney of Park Ness.
Oh.
Jesus. Jesus. Mine are basically the same concept as my original one, far less complicated. So Army of Darkness is remade, starring a singer. They've done a little gender swap and starring a singer who was famous for being in the Eurythmics.
Annie Lennox.
Yeah.
That was it.
Just Annie of Darkness.
Oh, went the darkness as Lennox.
Yeah.
And it just
She's now during the darkness.
She's now during the darkness, which is interesting. I'd like to see that. And I won't do the last one. It was Arnie of Darkness.
Arnie of Darkness.
That's pretty much all I did with it. I think Army Hammer was my favorite one.
I think Arnie of Darkness would have been wonderful if you'd done an impression of some of Ash Williams' lines. If Arnie had played him,
that's a good idea.
We've already had Arnie now, but Arnold Schwarzenegger has decided climate change is very serious and wants to stop driving his car as much.
Has he?
No, Arnie Parks less.
I thought you were just telling me a fact. Sorry.
Why did that? And he was like, "Is he? Fair play to him. Thank God." Arnie Parks less.
Arnie Parks less is very good. Sorry.
Not really.
I completely lost the train of that. Arnie Parks less is very good.
He's given up all these cars. Yeah.
Very nice. Okay, so now we've got to rate the movie from A to F. Minuses and pluses are allowed. Where would you stand on this one, Alice? What are you saying?
I'm gonna give it a nice strong A-.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think that's fair enough. Any reasoning for that other than just you love it? It's awesome.
Yeah, I really like it. It's always a fun time to watch. There's always things to notice that are enjoyable feasts for the eyes. And it's just a fun movie.
It's just a good time all around.
It's just a good time.
Andy of Darkness.
I'm with Alice on this one. A- from me, exactly the same reasons. Like, there are films which you could say are made with greater quality, with greater budget, with greater any number of things, if you're talking it as a serious critic point of view. But I'm talking about a film I enjoy. There's not many better. It's so much fun. I'm not going to leave it so long until I watch it again. It's just a delight. It's so much fun.
I was I'm not sure how I would rate it against the other Evil Deads. Evil Dead 2 is definitely still my favorite. So, but I think an A- is kind of fair. I wouldn't say it's like a perfect film, but it's really fun. I enjoyed that sequence of like 20 to 30 minutes is great, and I was chortling along. So, yeah, let's stick with an A-. Let's have it equal across the board. That sounds good to me.
Average is so
Across
easy
the
to work
board.
out.
It's about time that we covered this film on this podcast, nearly 300 episodes in. So there we go. Thanks for joining us, Alice. Where can our listeners keep up to speed with you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Alice Taylor M. If you are in Bristol or the Southwest and want to see my live D&D show, it's every second Thursday of the month at the Bristol Improv Theatre. And I will be introducing films periodically every now and then. So come watch those.
Awesome. Amazing. Definitely recommend getting yourself to the Bristol Bad Film Club as well. Always a good time.
I tell you what, you can always rely on Alice for online as well. A good film recommendation list at every Halloween. I love your list
Yes.
at Halloween. I follow those
Do you know what? I
trails.
didn't do one last year, and people kept messaging me like,
What?
Like, where's your? Because I did my favorite films, then I did my favorite sequels, and then I think I did like my favorite deaths, and I didn't do one last year.
Oh, you know what you want to do? Having left it last year, this year you could do series that are resurrected after a little bit of a break.
Yeah, or reboots. Yeah,
Yes.
reboots, sequel, reboots, resurrections. Yeah,
and then you
I
can
will
claim
do that.
last year was thematic. Then
yes,
it's part of it.
Amazing. Okay, so thanks everybody for listening. If you enjoyed the show, become a patron over at patreon.com/horror hangout. Thanks to our current patrons, including John Crinnan, Ben Scaife, Stephen Christopher, Toby Miller, Scott Rigby, Lane Spencer, Ollie Child, Leslie Carla, Julia Bilgren, Nick Spill, Troy Burst, Rosalind Harnias, and Pazuzu. Thanks to Taj Easton for our theme music. Thanks to Acast for hosting the show. Please consider giving us a rating or review, and head over to the Facebook group Horror Hangout Board of Advisors for more. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Just search Horror Hangout Podcast. Next week, we'll be covering The Boogeyman by Robbie Savage, footballer, who's just made a sudden
real career pivot.
Real career pivot, you know, playing football. He's I'm going to make a horror movie based on a short story by Stephen King. How enjoyable. But yeah, see you next week. Thanks again for joining us, Alice.
thank you for having me.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye now.
Bye.